It's hard to believe we're at the end of the year, but it does give us the opportunity to look back at the last year, some of the achievements that have been very much part of our work. Let's take a look together.
Over 140 guests enjoyed the Wesley Aunties and Uncles annual picnic in Parramatta Park. Children, their aunts and uncles, and the mums and dads in the program celebrated the achievements of the year with fun features including a petting zoo, a treasure hunt, and children's show bags. Graduation certificates went to 11 children and their aunts and uncles. 3 children also won brand new bikes as prizes, and the program received wonderful donations from several sponsors. A new era in mental health education has begun with the opening of new state-of-the-art education facilities for nursing and medical students at Wesley Hospital Ashfield and Wesley Hospital Kogarah. These facilities will meet the growing demand for student placements in mental health education and the ongoing training of nursing and medical professionals. Keith Garner was joined at the Kogarah opening by the Federal Member for Barton, Mr Nick Vivaris, and Federal Member for Banks, David Coleman, and at Ashfield by the Mayor of Ashfield, Councillor Lucille McKenna, and Assistant Director of Chronic Disease Management, Primary and Mental Health Care, Department of Health, Lorraine Ricketts. Rain showers failed to dampen the enthusiasm of hundreds of people who participated in and watched Wesley Mission's annual Palm Sunday event in Sydney. The reenactment of Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem along the Circular Quay Boardwalk was met with a chorus of "Let It Shine" and "Hallelujah, we are going to see the King." Diners at cafes and restaurants, tourists and families stopped, watched and listened to singing, led by the beautiful harmonies of Wesley Mission's Samoan congregation. Wesley Mission's Good Friday procession started in Martin Place with actors portraying the Last Supper and Jesus' arrest in the Garden of Gethsemane. A procession of participants and audience members, led by Jesus carrying the cross, continued up Pitt Street to Wesley Mission. The Easter Sunday sunrise service opened as dawn broke on a clear sky across Sydney Harbour. Many families and children, including staff, filled the northern foyer of the Sydney Opera House to hear Keith Garner's Easter message. Keith then interviewed Michelle Parrish from Wesley Dalmar about how her faith led her to work with children and families in need, while Christian singer Tanya Riches inspired the crowd. Those gathered watched the story of Aya and her family, who found themselves homeless a few years ago and were helped back onto their feet by Wesley Mission. A joyous Thanksgiving service was held at the Wesley Centre, marking 120 years of Wesley Dalmar services for children. Wesley Dalmar staff, current and former foster children, and foster carers gathered together to reflect on the past and the future of this vital service. Wesley Mission also announced the launch of 2 inaugural scholarships, the Wesley Dalmar Scholarship and the Wesley Marcus Wilson Scholarship, designed to support the education of 2 young people in the care of Wesley Dalmar. Keith Garner launched the latest Wesley report titled Giving Disability Carers a Break in the foyer of the Wesley Conference Centre. Keith was joined by Dr Ken Baker, Chief Executive, National Disability Services, who talked about his own experience caring for his wife, who suffers from the effects of a debilitating stroke. The launch of the report marked the start of Wesley Mission's winter campaign to increase awareness of the issues carers face and to raise funds for Wesley Disability Services. Changing lives through love was the theme of the inaugural women's fundraising lunch, Wesley Doves, held at the Royal Automobile Club in Sydney. Over 100 guests, including donors, supporters, staff and friends, gathered to hear inspirational speakers. These included Keith Garner, singer-songwriter Jade Ambrose, the greatest aerial skier of all time, Jackie Cooper, and Wesley Equip youth mentor and New South Wales bocce champion, David Cunningham. As part of our winter campaign, Giving Disability Carers a Break, Wesley Mission hosted an art exhibition called Wesley Building Dreams. The exhibition displayed artworks by people with disabilities who were mentored by renowned local watercolour artist Sadami Conchi. Each piece of art was designed to promote inclusiveness and the importance of recognising the dreams and aspirations of all, especially those living with disability. People in Sydney, Newcastle and Adelaide were given the opportunity to openly grieve and receive support during Wesley Life Force memorial services, which were held in a week when the world remembered loved ones lost to suicide. More than 200 people who had been bereaved by suicide gathered together in Adelaide's Semaphore Park and in Newcastle's Foreshore Park in a spirit of comfort and hope. The following day, a sea breeze and warm sun at Sydney Harbour and the Opera House were reminders of the constant love of God. Now in its 17th year, the Sydney Wesley Life Force Memorial Service drew people from all backgrounds, each with their own story to tell. Singer and musician Scotty Paolo sang words of beauty, trust and love, providing ambience and reflection before grieving families and friends cast sunflowers into Sydney Harbour. A dove released into the sky by Carol Garner flew high above the harbour, circling the Opera House and reminding the gathered crowd of peace and hope in a time of grief. The Reverend Noreen Towers opened the 101st Wesley Fair, 50 years to the day since her work with Wesley Mission began. A crowd filled the ground and lower ground floors of Wesley Mission at 220 Pitt Street to sample the rich array of arts, crafts, food, fashion, books and music on offer. This year, Wesley Fair raised $22,000 for the Wesley Oasis Drop-In Centre in Newcastle, which is at risk of closing due to cuts in government funding. A $400,000 new out-of-school hours care centre, staffed, managed and funded by Wesley Mission, was opened by Keith Garner at Quakers Hill Public School. The new building will boost the capacity of the program to care for 150 children before and after school and also in school holidays. The program gives children the opportunity to learn life skills, such as making their own breakfast and sharing their games, knowledge and experiences with each other. At Stand Tall, a youth event supported by Wesley Mission, successful Christian role models came together to equip teenage students to stand tall against the negative pressures they can face on a daily basis, such as peer pressure, anxiety, depression and self-esteem. Famous pop singers and youth bands such as X Factor's Taylor Henderson performed at the event, along with professional skaters and other sports people and organisations. 190 volunteers and staff gathered together for a Bollywood-themed volunteer appreciation function. Senior staff and board members waited on tables as guests enjoyed an Indian feast, Bollywood dancing and a thank you video put together by Wesley Mission staff. With Carol Garner as MC and Keith Garner as head waiter and keynote speaker, volunteers reflected and gave thanks for 2014 and looked forward to a new year of making a difference. There was plenty of sparkle when Wesley School for Seniors hosted Glitz on Pitts, an end-of-year student concert in the Lyceum at Wesley Mission Pitt Street. The talents of the over 55 students in music, dance and singing dazzled the audience, who came dressed in their glitziest outfits. Wesley Mission continued to speak to the community through the media on issues close to its heart, such as mental health and suicide prevention. The Wesley Noreen Towers community was the focus of the signing of the New South Wales Government's Going Home, Staying Home contracts, which ushered in a new era in accommodation for homeless people. Easter also provided the opportunity for our superintendent to engage with the community through the media about the relevance of Easter to all Australians.
So before we know where we are, Christmas will be upon us and we'll be straight into 2015. There's more to look ahead to. Let's together look to the future, because everyone really counts and together we do make a difference.